Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is draft day, and to celebrate the event, I am making my final mock draft for the class of 2020. This one's a little different from the last one. The last time I did what I think every team should do. Today, I am going to do what I think every team will do. Just a little notice. I am a 16-year-old kid who makes YouTube videos about the NBA in his basement. So I have absolutely no contact with anyone who is actually in an NBA front office. However, I spend a lot of time reading articles and listening to podcasts where people that are experts on the draft and do have insight into those front offices. I listen to a lot of those and read a lot of those articles, so I feel like I've gotten a pretty good grasp for what we know going into this draft. So I have used an accumulation of all of those draft experts' ideas and put them together to make my very own mock draft of what I think is going to happen tonight. Of course, there will probably be trades, and some teams might even sell a first round pick in this odd COVID time. So there will definitely be some mix ups here, but as of right now, this is the best guess that I can give you. Before I get into that, though, I just want to remind you to leave a like and subscribe. Been enjoying all the support lately, and I hope to see that continue. Without further ado, let's get into my final mock draft. With the number one overall pick in the draft, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves taking LaMelo Ball, a point guard from the Illawarra Hawks. Ball is the best ball handler and playmaker in this draft. If he can improve his shooting and his defense, then there's a chance that he can be one of the best point guards in the entire NBA. And for that reason, I think that he is far and away the best player in this class. At number two, I have the Warriors taking James Wiseman, a big man who played 3 games at Memphis, but really is just pretty fresh out of high school still. Wiseman is an excellent shot blocker. He's going to be a really good rim runner, and at some point, he'll probably be able to shoot the three. This is the stereotypical big man that everybody loves in the NBA at this point. I think that he could end up being a very similar player to Miles Turner with some more bounce on the offensive end of the floor. So for that reason, I think that he is probably both the second best guy in this class and who the Warriors will take with the second pick. With the third pick, I have the Charlotte Hornets taking Onyeka Okongwu from USC, another big man. Okongwu is not this high on a lot of people's draft boards, but there's a lot of rumors that the Hornets are very interested in him, and I think he makes a lot of sense with their roster. So for that reason, I decided that I would mock him to the Hornets. He is a little different from Wiseman as a big man. He's similar as a very good rim protector, but he's a bit smaller than Wiseman, and he is a bit more laterally quick, so that allows him to guard on the perimeter quite a bit better than James Wiseman can. On offense, he's very similar as just a rim runner who could develop a jump shot, but until he does that, he's not going to have much of a role on that end of the floor. For that reason, I have him a bit lower than this on my big board. I think he's about 7th on my board, but the Hornets need a center, and I think that he makes sense for them here at 3. With the 4th overall pick, I have the Chicago Bulls taking Anthony Edwards, a wing from Georgia. Edwards is one of the bigger boomer bust prospects in this draft. If he booms and he hits his ceiling, you've probably got an all NBA type player who can really score on the offensive end of the floor and is a really good on ball defensive player. If he busts, you've got a guy who's probably an end of the rotation player who can score a little bit off the bench, but doesn't even shoot the ball efficiently due to poor shot selection. So there's a large range of outcomes for Anthony Edwards, but due to the fact that he could boom and the Chicago Bulls should be looking at taking the best player available, I think that Edwards should be the guy for them if he's still available here at 4. With the 5th overall pick, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers taking Deni Avdija, a wing from Maccabi Tel Aviv in Israel. From what I've heard, the Cavs have a lot of interest in Avdija, and if he is available at 5, he will likely be the pick for them. A lot of mock drafts have him going 4th to the Bulls, with Anthony Edwards falling in this one. I don't think that they would take Avdija over Edwards. Avdija also fits well with their current roster, as he can be a playmaking wing that can help take some of the ball handling role away from their two young guards. So I think he would be both a good fit and one of the better players available here. So for that reason, I believe the Cleveland Cavaliers will draft Denny. With the sixth overall pick, I have the Atlanta Hawks taking Tyrese Haliburton, a combo guard from Ohio State. Haliburton has potential to play alongside Trae Young while also playing alongside Kevin Huerter, so he can play either of the two guard positions. He's a good playmaker, he's a good shooter, and he plays solid team defense. So overall, he's a nice fit for the Hawks roster. They're rumored to have a lot of interest in him, and if he's available for them here at 6, I think that he'll likely be the pick. With the 7th overall pick, I have the Detroit Pistons taking Patrick Williams from Florida State. This isn't exactly a pick that I agree with, as I have Williams much further down than this on my personal draft board. I think he's either at 10 or 11. Yeah, so I just checked, and he's number 11 for me. So moving all the way up the board to 7 is a pretty big jump from where I think he should be taken, but the Pistons are rumored to have a lot of interest in him. Troy Weaver has always not been shy about drafting players that are very good defensively and really can't quite shoot it yet, although I do think Williams is probably going to shoot it. And that, along with his playmaking, makes him a very interesting player. And like I said before, when Weaver was an assistant general manager, I believe, over in Oklahoma City, this is the type of player he really liked. And all the rumors, all the mock drafts have Williams going here, so I think this is probably where he ends up. With the 8th pick, I have the New York Knicks taking Killian Hayes from Ulm in France, which is a EuroLeague team. Killian has a chance to be another really solid combo guard. He's a bit different from Haliburton, as I think he has a higher ceiling but also a lower floor. He can shoot the ball well, he can handle the ball, and he's a solid playmaker. I just don't know if he's going to be able to create any type of separation at the NBA level because I have a lot of questions about his athleticism overall. But I think the Knicks really need to focus on getting their lead guard for the future, someone that can play alongside R.J. Barrett and really fill that point guard role. And as of right now, Hayes is clearly the best one on the board. Well, actually, I think Tyrese Maxey is the best one on the board, but this is what I think is going to happen, not what I would do. So I'm going to have the Knicks take Killian Hayes. With the 9th pick, I have the Washington Wizards taking Devin Vassell, a wing from Florida State. The pretty consensus guy to go here would be Okongwu, but because I have him going much earlier in this mock draft, obviously the Wizards can't take him too. So instead, they take Vassell, a 3-and-D wing who can complement Bradley Beal and John Wall pretty well and will be a solid fit with their roster. He doesn't have much upside, but he also is definitely going to end up being a rotation player and probably a starter. So for that reason, I think this is a good pick for the Wizards. With the 10th pick, I have the Phoenix Suns taking Obi Toppin, a big man from Dayton. I thought that the power forward position would be a spot that they would address in free agency, but due to the trade for Chris Paul, they don't have quite as much cap space there to sign someone like Danilo Gallinari or Davis Bertans. So I think that they are most likely going to draft a power forward in this draft. Patrick Williams would make sense if he was still on the board here. He's not, so Obi Toppin is the guy. He actually kind of has some similar traits to Cameron Johnson as a really good shooter from his position, who is also a bit older, and Cam was their pick last year, so I think that due to those parallels, he makes sense to me here, as well as the positional fit for the Suns. So that's why I have Obi Toppin going 10th. At number 11, I have the San Antonio Spurs taking Isaac Okoro. I think he could be a really nice fit for their roster as a wing who can play alongside guys like DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Lonnie Walker, and Keldon Johnson. This team's pretty stacked at the guard spot, so I think that they should either draft a big or a wing. And at this point in the draft, there's not a whole lot of bigs that really make sense. So unless they trade down, I think they would likely target a wing here. And Okoro is clearly the best one available. He has a lot of upside, and he also has a pretty solid floor due to his defensive capabilities. With the 12th pick, I have the Sacramento Kings taking Saddiq Bey, a wing from Villanova. Bey can really shoot it, he's a good defender, and he can also make some good passing decisions and do a bit of playmaking from the wing position. I think he'd be an excellent fit for their roster alongside De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield, and I think that he should really be a guy that they strongly consider here with the 12th pick. With the 13th pick, I have the Pelicans taking Aaron Nesmith. I'm not quite this high on Nesmith. I have him at 18th on my overall big board, but I think the Pelicans could take a splurge on him due to their need to add more wings and also to add more shooting. He could space the floor really well for guys like Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson, and for those reasons, I think that he would be a nice fit for the Pelicans here at 13, and he's a guy that I think they're really likely to draft. With the 14th pick, I have the Boston Celtics taking Kira Lewis, a guard from Alabama. Lewis is a really fast guard who is a good defender, can shoot the ball, can play both on and off the ball, and if he's playing off the ball, he's going to space the floor miraculously well for Jason Tatum. The Celtics are rumored to be targeting a point guard who can come off the bench for them and give better production than Brad Wanamaker did, and I think Lewis can do that likely right away. He also has a chance to develop into a really good above-average starting point guard and could take over that spot as Kemba Walker continues to age. With the 15th pick, I have the Orlando Magic taking R.J. Hampton, a guard from the New Zealand Breakers who play in the NBL, which is the Australian Professional Basketball League. Hampton has a lot of potential if he can get his jump shot figured out, but outside of that, you're taking this guy for his potential and his athleticism. He also has a really good motor and plays really hard, so I think he would make sense for the Magic, as that's the kind of guy that they've targeted with their current coach, Steve Clifford, emphasizing that hard-nosed style of play. So I think Hampton makes a lot of sense for them here. He also could play alongside Markelle Fultz as a combo guard and hopefully provide some offense to this team that has really needed it in past years. With the 16th pick, I have the Houston Rockets taking Aleksej Pokusevski from Olympiakos B in the Greek League. He's initially from Serbia. Pokusevski is ridiculously skinny, but he's also ridiculously talented with a really nice ability to handle the ball, make plays for his teammates, and also shoot the ball from three. If he can add stuff to his frame, which I actually think he probably will due to the strength and conditioning programs that NBA teams have, there's a chance that this guy could be a top 5 player in this draft class. I'm really not sure what the Rockets want to do, as they've just recently received this pick in the Robert Covington trade from the Trailblazers. And with all of the rumors that are around them with James Harden or Russell Westbrook, I think this is a spot where they could target a star for the future. And Aleksej Pokusevski has more star potential than anyone else currently on the board, so he's the pick for me here at 16 for the Rockets. With the 17th pick, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves taking Precious Achiuwa, a big man from Memphis. He's a menace defensively. He has to figure out what his offensive role is going to be in the NBA, but if he can improve his decision-making and shooting, there's a chance that he is one of the better players in this draft. I think that he could be a long-term fit alongside Karl Anthony Towns, or he could be Towns' backup for the future. So he makes sense to me here for the Timberwolves, and I think that they're probably going to trade this pick either up or down. But if they do stay, Precious Achiuwa would make sense. With the 18th pick, I have the Dallas Mavericks taking Tyrese Maxey, a guard from Kentucky. Maxey is one of my he probably is my favorite player in this class. I have him 4th on my big board, which might seem ridiculous to some people, but if you want to hear why, go check out that big board video. I think he's got a ridiculous amount of potential, and I think he's super underrated. The Mavericks would be a perfect fit for him, where he could play alongside Luka Doncic, space the floor competently, and also have a bunch of opportunities created for him to attack closeouts and allow him to get into that mid-range game where he's so lethal. I think he could be the steal of the draft if he goes anywhere from 15 to 20, and I would be a big fan of him going to the Mavericks. I love Maxey in general. I think I'm going to buy his jersey probably just because I'm such a big fan. But moving on past my little man crush there, with the 19th pick, I have the New York Nets, Brooklyn Nets, taking Jaden McDaniels, a wing from Washington. I have McDaniels, I think, at 40th on my big board. So obviously this is a big move for him, but he has a lot of potential if he can figure out how to play basketball. That's kind of important in the NBA in case you didn't know. And right now this guy's not very good at playing basketball, which is why I have him so low on my big board. But apparently he's like a potential guy. And like I said before, this is what I think is going to happen, not what I would do. If I were here, I would not draft him in the first round, but The Nets are rumored to be looking for a guy that can be their future outside of KD and Kyrie, not someone who can help them out now. And McDaniels has a lot of potential apparently, so I could see him being the pick here at 19. With the 20th pick, I have the Miami Heat taking Cole Anthony from North Carolina. The Anthony fall ends, and I think that this could be a perfect spot for him. I think that Anthony's going to either end up being a Lou Williams type gunner off the bench or a bottom tier starting point guard in the NBA. Think something along the lines of Terry Rozier. So I think he's definitely worth a first round pick still, and I think the Heat could be getting some really good value here at 20. With the 21st pick, I have the Philadelphia 76ers taking Tyrell Terry, a guard from Stanford. Terry can really shoot it. He's a good playmaker and he's really smart, so he makes good decisions passing the ball. And for those reasons, he could be an excellent fit with the Sixers. I think it's going to take time for him to grow and become an NBA ready player, but it just makes too much sense for them to add a floor spacer and a point guard. Tyrell Terry really fits that description, so I think that he is the pick here at 21 for the Sixers. With the 22nd pick, I have the Denver Nuggets taking Desmond Bane. Bane is 17th on my personal big board, so this is a bit of a fall for him from there. So for that reason, I think he could be great value for the Nuggets. If Torrey Craig leaves them in free agency, and possibly Jeremy Grant could too, he could replace some of that production as a solid defensive wing off the bench who can also do a bit of shooting on the offensive end and also a little bit more, as he also has some capability as a guy who can attack closeouts and get to the rim a little bit, where he can either finish or create plays for his teammates. So I really like this Bane pick here at 22. He could be a great floor spacer alongside Nikola Jokic, and he's also an underrated cutter. So Jokic loves those type of guys, and he's great at finding those cutters going to the rim. So Bane would be a nice pick here for the Nuggets. At 23, I have the Utah Jazz taking Josh Green, a wing from Arizona. I am not a big Green fan because I feel like when people look at Josh Green, this is something I said in the big board video, so this is a bit of an echo, but Josh Green is a wing who can play good defense. People see that and they say, oh, he must be a 3-and-D wing. Well, that's not the case. The guy can't shoot, and I'm not sure he'll ever be able to shoot. So for that reason, I think that this would be not a very good pick for the Jazz, but it sounds like a lot of teams have interest in Josh Green in this middle part of the first round, and the Jazz really do need some help on the wings, and they need some defensive help as well. So I think that Green really could be a pick here, and that's why I have him 23rd. With the 24th pick, I have the New Orleans Pelicans taking Jalen Smith, a big man from Maryland. They're rumored to be interested in Smith with the 13th pick, but I don't think he's quite that good, doesn't warrant a lottery pick, and I think that there's a good chance that he'd still be here for them to take at the 24th pick, and so that's what I have them doing. He's obviously a really nice fit alongside Zion Williamson as a big man who can space the floor and also protect the rim, but I just don't see him doing much else than that, and for that reason, I have a second round grade on him. But the Pelicans are rumored to be interested. He's still here with their second first round pick, and I don't think that they'll pass on him again. With the 25th pick, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder taking Robert Woodard. This is a guy that really fits the type of prospect that they've taken in past years as a player who's really strong defensively and is super athletic, but has a jump shot, but isn't necessarily proven that that's a good jump shot. But I do think that he fits the Thunder's player type. He could be a really nice option for them on the wing, and for that reason, I have him going 25th to the Thunder. With the 26th pick, I have the Boston Celtics taking Leandro Balmaro, a wing from Europe. He is a good playmaker who has potential to be a good shooter as well and can do some interesting things on the defensive end, so I think he would be a good fit here for the Celtics as a third wing for the future. He also is going to be a draft and stash guy, and with all the roster spots that the Celtics already have occupied, that's something that they should be very interested in, so I have him going here to the Celtics. With the 27th pick, I have the Knicks taking Isaiah Stewart, a big man from Washington. Obviously, the Knicks already have Mitchell Robinson as a big man that they love heading into the future, but I think that Stewart is just too good of a value to pass up on here. I believe that he's going to end up being a really strong offensive big man who also can do some interesting stuff as a rim protector on defense. So that's why I have him going here to the Knicks, just because of the value. I don't think they can pass up on it. With the 28th pick, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder taking Zeke Naji, a big man from Arizona. He kind of defines what they've been interested in, a good athlete who, in this case, isn't very good on defense, but he is super athletic, and I think that there's potential there on defense that he can guard on the perimeter, which makes him a super intriguing big guy. And I really like him. I have him in my top 20 on my big board, and I think that this could be a really nice pick for the Thunder here at 28. With the 29th pick, I have the Toronto Raptors taking Trey Jones, a guard from Duke. Jones has a lot of similarities to their incumbent point guard, Kyle Lowry, as he's an excellent point of attack defender. He's a good playmaker for his teammates, and if he can develop his jump shot, there's a chance he could be a solid starter at the NBA level. Sounds like a good pick for the Raptors here at 29, as he could be mentored by a player that I view as a solid comparison for him. Finally, with the 30th pick, I have the Boston Celtics taking Daniel Oturu, a big man from Minnesota, to round out the first round. Oturu has flash potential to be a super good offensive big man with some good moves in the post and also a three-point shot, but I don't think he's going to be able to guard the pick and roll. He can't do much playmaking, and for that reason, I have him back towards the 40s, I believe, in my big board. But I do think that there is a lot of interest here from NBA teams in the first round, and that's why I have him going 30th to the Celtics. Let me know what you think of this mock draft in the comment section down below. What picks would you change? What picks do you love? Let me know. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I think that's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you all again very soon.